Hello dear students, this is Arpit Gupta from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota. Today we are going to take the revision of our first chapter, that is Business, Trade and Commerce. As we know, this chapter consists of basically three terms, that is business, trade and commerce. As we have already discussed the broad meaning of these particular terms, now let's have a look the view of this particular chapter. The chapter consists of economic activities, non-economic activities, and economic activities basically are those activities which are done to earn some profit or revenue. The work which are done for the love and affection, or we can say for the sympathy, is a non-economic activity. Then the next term is the industry and the commerce. As we know, industry is basically related to production or manufacturing of goods and services, and trade is basically related with supplying or selling of goods and services. As we know, the commerce includes basically the auxiliaries to trade also. Auxiliary to trades are those which help in delivering the goods from one place to another. So in this, the last topic is business risk. Business risk are those risks which arises due to uncertainty in the business. It may be pure risk or the speculative risk. Okay. So now these are some points to remember of this particular chapter. First one is economic activities. As we have seen that economic activities are those activities which are done to earn some revenue or the profits. Means if a businessman is selling any goods or services on continuous basis to earn some revenue, it is known as economic activity. The next one is business. Business are all those activities in which individual gets busy and doing it on the regular basis. For example, the retailers selling any goods on their shops, any person is providing any services like doctors, all these are included in the business. Now the next one is concept of profession. Profession means a person who is having a specialized skill. That means if we talk about the doctor, if we talk about the lawyer, these are some individuals who are having some specialized skills to give the services to the consumers. They possess some specialized degrees on the behalf of which they provide the services to an individual. The next one is employment. That means if we are doing a job under some superiors, under any industries on the fixed salary basis, then it is known as employment. There is a contract of employment between an employer and the employee. Now the main term is the difference between the business, profession and employment. As we know, if we talk about the ownership, in business we are having the ownership. If we talk about profession, it may be on the ownership basis or on the employment basis, and if we talk about employment, there is no condition of the ownership. Here all the transactions are done under the supervision of the person who is having his business. Now let's talk about the industries. Basically industries can be those activities which are related to the production and manufacturing of goods or services. If we want to categorize it, we can easily divide it into three types, that is primary industries, secondary industries and the tertiary industries. Primary industries are those industries which are related to extraction of the natural resources. If we talk about petrol, these are the resources which are easily extracted from the land. Second is the secondary industry. Secondary industries are those industries which are basically related for conversion of raw material into the finished product. And last one is the tertiary service. Tertiary industries means are those industries which are related to providing the services to the individual. All the installation services, after sale services are included in the tertiary industries. Now if we talk about the primary industries, it can be categorized into two types, that is extractive and genetic industries. Basically extractive industries are those industries which are involved in extraction of raw materials from the earth, which are readily available and we do not have to do any manufacturing process on these resources. And genetic are those resources which are used for the reproduction, that is breeding of plants to make it new category of that particular breed. Now the commerce means that is selling of goods and services. The commerce can be categorized basically into two types, that is trade and auxiliaries to trade. Now what is trade? Trade is selling of goods and services from one person to another. Now if we talk about, if you want to buy anything and we go to the retailer to purchase anything, it is a part of a trade. And the auxiliary to trades are just helping and supporting services. For example, transportation and communication for moving the goods from place of manufacture to the place of consumption. Banking and finance, it helps in providing the finance that is capital to the business industries. Insurance, it provides an individual from any kind of risk in the business, that is because of loss of theft, fire or any of the case. Next one is warehousing, that is if we want to store our goods, that means if there is a lag between the manufacturing and the ultimate consumption of the goods, then warehousing plays an important part in our organization. As soon as the goods are manufactured, these are stored in the warehouses, and when the demand of that particular goods arises, the goods can be easily removed from that warehouse and supplied to the ultimate consumer. The next one is advertising. Advertising is playing in today's world a very important key role, because with the help of advertising we can promote our products, we can easily give the knowledge of our particular product, that how it is beneficial to an individual. Okay, so in our daily life we see various kinds of advertisement on televisions, on our mobile phones, with the help of emails, with the help of short clippings, or with the help of radios. So advertising is also playing an important part. Without the help of this advertising, we cannot give the information, a brief or the extractive information of that particular product. The next term is business risk. Business risks are the uncertainties which arises in the business, because we know in business there is no surety that we will earn a profit in the future time period. So the business risk can be of basically two types, that is an speculative risk and the pure risk. Now what is speculative risk? Speculative risk is those risks in which there is an equal chances of losses and profit. That means there is no certainty that in the future the business will earn a profit, and the pure risk is the business will earn a loss in the future, that there is a greater chances of incurring a loss in the organization, because in the starting phase we cannot find the consumers on the easy basis. Now if we want to start a business, we can have to follow the following steps. First one is selection of the line of the business, that is which kind of business we want to start in our the organization, that is it may be a clothing business, it may be a manufacturing of other household items, what kind of business we want to start. Second one is the size of the firm. The size of the firm, basically if you want to start a business, it should operate in the local territory only, or we will work as an MNC, we will provide the franchises to the other parts of the world. The third one is the choice of the form of the owners, that is we have already studied various forms of business organization, that is sole proprietorship, partnership, joint venture, Hindu undivided family. These are certain terms or the forms of business organizations from which we can choose the best one after seeing the advantages and disadvantages of that particular ownership. The third and the fourth one is the location of the business enterprises. Now where the registered office of the particular business enterprise will be. Now where the business enterprise will operate. If we see the example of Reebok, it is having the registered office in USA and it is operating in all over the world. Now what are the financing positions? Financing, where the capital should be arranged. It should be from the own fund or the funds can be borrowed. As we know, there is only two ways of arranging the funds, that is equity and debt. Equity is the own fund and the debt is the borrowed fund. It may be from the money lenders or from the banks. Now what are the physical facilities? Now physical facilities are related to some employees of the organizations and the machineries which are provided in the organizations. Now where we will arrange, from where we get the employees to work in the organization. The next one is plant layout. That means the overall structure, overall requirement of the industries, overall system, and overall what the physical appearance of the organizations are included in the plant layout. The next one is competent and committed workforce. That means the employees are those who are involved in the business activity should work for the goal of the organization. Next one is tax planning. As we know, we want to minimize our tax and we want to generate more and more revenue. So as a business enterprise, we should look out how the tax can be minimized, how we can do any activity so that tax can be minimized. And the last one is the launching of the enterprises. After following all the above steps, the last task of the businessman is to introduce the enterprise along with the products which he goes to manufacture. Okay students, now we will discuss the important questions of this particular chapter. The first question is, what are the various types of industries? Now, what is the meaning of industries? We have already understood. Industries are those activities which are related to extraction and production of goods and services. Basically, if we talk about the industries, we can categorize into three types, that is primary industry, secondary industries, and the tertiary industries. Primary industries are those industries which are related to the extraction of the natural resources from our earth. As we have understood the meaning of petrol, it includes all those resources which are easily available, for example coal, for example gold. These are the industries which are involved in the extraction of the resources. Now, the second type is secondary industries. Secondary industries are related with the conversion of raw material into the finished products. For example, if we talk about gold, if the primary industries extracting the gold from the mines and the secondary industries convert the gold into the ornaments, into the biscuits which are available, which we are buying, and it is ultimately delivered to the consumers. Now, if we talk about the third type, that is the tertiary industries. Tertiary industries are related to industries which are providing the services to the individual, that is after selling services, installation services, all are included in the tertiary industries. Now, the next question is, explain any two business activities which are auxiliaries to trade. If we know, the auxiliaries to trade means the supporting services which provides the goods from the place of manufacturing to the place of consumption. So the helping services are transportation and communication, warehousing, insurance. We have understood various types of auxiliaries to trade. So the two types are transportation and communication. Transportation means moving of goods from the one place to another, because it is not possible that the place of manufacturing and place of consumption should be same. So the ultimate purpose of the businessman is to deliver the goods to the place of consumptions, to the ultimate consumer. So transportation plays an important role in this. Transportation helps in moving the goods from one place to another. The next one is warehousing. As we have seen that warehousing helps in storing the goods and services, we know that the place of production and the consumption, there is a lag between the two activities. We cannot say that the production and consumption can be simultaneously performed. So warehousing plays a very important part. We store the goods in the warehouse, and ultimately when the demands of that particular product arises, the goods are delivered to the ultimate consumer. Now we have already understood the meaning of business risk. Business risk are the losses or uncertainties which are included in the business organizations. These are generally of two types, that is speculative risk and the pure risk. As we know, speculative risk involves both the possibilities of profit and losses. And if we talk about the pure risk involves only the possibility of loss or the profit. मीन्स अगर लॉस होगा तो पूरा ही लॉस होगा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, और अगर प्रॉफिट होगा तो पूरा ही क्या होगा, प्रॉफिट होगा. Okay. Now the next one is, we have already understood the meaning of business, profession and employment. Now let's discuss the difference between these three terms. First one is the mode of establishment. If we talk about the business activities, there is very little legal formalities which are to be performed for starting a business. If we talk about the profession, it includes certificate of membership to start any professional activities, which is provided by the institute which is registered in the parliament or with the government. And the third one is employment. Employment are done for the service agreement. It is generally performed under some superiors, and it is performed after receiving the employment or the appointment letter from that particular individual. Next one is the nature of work. If we talk about the business, it is done for providing the goods and services. If we talk about the profession, it is generally involved in the expertise services. For example, the services of the doctor, the services of the lawyers, the services of the any engineers. These are included in the professionals because it includes professional activities. It requires professional knowledge of an individual. Now, third one is employment. These are done on the basis of service contract. As the instructions are received by the top management, we as an individual has to perform those activities only. We generally do not perform any kind of activities or any other activities which are not received from the top management. Now, if we talk about the risk in the business, there is uncertainty of risk. If we talk about business, the activities are uncertain. We cannot say that the business will give us profit or loss. Profession, there is some risk because we will receive our professional fees. If the client comes to us for any guidance, for any services, then we will charge a professional fees from that individual. So there is a little chance of uncertainty or risk. If we talk about employment, देखिए एम्प्लॉयमेंट के अंदर क्या होता है कि हमें हमेशा हमारी जो सैलरी है वो तो टाइम टू टाइम मिल जाएगी. जो पर्सन उस बिजनेस को कर रहा है हो सकता है उसको लॉस हो जाए, लेकिन हमें तो क्या है टाइम टू टाइम हमारी सैलरी मिल जाएगी. तो यहाँ पे भी रिस्क के चांसेस क्या हो जाते हैं, बहुत कम हो जाते हैं. Now, transfer of ownership. As we know, business do not require any specialized skill, so transfer of ownership can easily be possible. But if we talk about profession and employment, these are generally those activities in which transfer of ownership cannot be possible, because in this specialized knowledge is required, and in the employment there is a contract between an employer and the employee, and that particular individual has to perform his activities. If we talk about reward and remuneration, we know in the business it is a profit. If we talk about profession, it is a consultation fees, and if we talk about employment, it is a salary. Now, what is a code of conduct? Code of conduct are generally the rules and regulations. So the businessman can make his rules and regulations according to his own will. If we talk about the profession, it is the code of conduct or the rules or regulations are prescribed by the particular institute under which you are getting registration. If we talk about the employment, as per the norms of the organization in which you are working, you have to follow the rules and regulation of that particular organization. Now, qualification, there is no minimum qualification is required in the business, but in profession and employment, if we talk about the qualification, there is a specialized skills required in the profession, and the qualification which has been prescribed by the employer is to be followed or is to be required to perform that particular activity in the case of employment. Now, we will moving to the last question of this particular chapter, that is also very important for you all. Now, if we talk about the other types of auxiliaries to trade, these are advertising. As we know, it helps in promotion of goods and services, and okay, the next two terms are the product innovations and the process innovations. Now we know that in the business there is innovations are required on the timely basis, so that the two important terms are the product innovations and the process innovations. In product innovations, we introduce new products in the market to attract more and more consumers. अब देखिए होगा क्या कि अगर हमने कोई भी प्रोडक्ट इंट्रोड्यूस किया, फॉर एग्जांपल मोबाइल, अब आप देखेंगे टाइम टू टाइम उसमें नए नए फीचर्स आते हैं. ऐसा क्यों? क्योंकि हमें क्या करना है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा कंज्यूमर्स को क्या करना है, अट्रैक्ट करना है अपनी साइड, अपने प्रोडक्ट को परचेज करने के लिए बोलना है. तो हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, टाइम टू टाइम न्यू फीचर्स इंट्रोड्यूस करने पड़ेंगे, एंड दैट इज नोन एज प्रोडक्ट इनोवेशन. Now, what is process innovation? Process is the activities which are doing, an organization is performing. For example, if we talk about the previous years, the years back, we see all the activities are done with the help of our hands. सब कुछ चीज हाथों से बनाई जाती थी. लेकिन if we talk about the present scenario, the machineries are used for producing goods and services. So it is an innovation in the process which has been introduced by the business organization. Okay. Now we have already understood the meaning of speculative and pure risk, so please mark it an important term for this. Now we have talked about the various activities which are involved in the process of business organization. We have already discussed, that is the selection of the line of business. Second one is the size of the firm. We have already discussed it. Form of ownership, that is which types of business organization we want to start, that is sole proprietorship, joint Hindu family, partnership. What will be the form of organization in which we are going to perform our business activities. The next one is the location of the business, that means where is the registered office of our business organization will be. The next one is financing decisions, that means the arrangement of capital for our business organization. It may be in the form of equity or it may be in the form of debt. The next one is physical facilities, that is all the equipments, all the machineries which are required for performing the business activities. A businessman has to arrange all these resources to produce the goods and services. Next one is plant layout. It shows the arrangement of the physical facilities such as machineries, for example employees. All these are arranged under the plant layout, means we are manufacturing or we are just developing the overall structure of our organization. And the next one is competent and committed workforce. That means the person should be one who are very committed in achieving the organizational objective, the organizational goals. And the last one is launching of the enterprise. At the last, we will introduce our enterprise with the products. If we are having all the resources, the businessman ultimately introduce his organization and start promoting his activities, start promoting his product, so that consumers will be attracted and purchase the goods in the maximum quantity. So students, this is all with the revision of our first chapter. We are concluding our chapter revision here only. Please revise this chapter, see the video of this particular chapter, so you can easily make your concept very clear. Thank you students and have a nice day.